Hi everybody, this is Clarine from In Reenie's Room, and today I'm going to show you how to make a Valentine card. This one is called a triple easel card because it has 3 sections that fold up and stand up. Here's the front, and here's the back, and then down on the bottom is where you're going to be putting your sentiment. So let me put that over here. And let's get started. This is what you're going to need. You're going to need 1 piece of cardstock for the base, and it is cut 5.5 by 8. Then there's 2 pieces of white cardstock for the top and the bottom of the card. So you'll need 2 of those, 7 3/4 by 2.5. And then you need pattern paper, and that's cut at 7.5 by 2 1/4. And then you'll need a little square for the corners cut from pattern paper. This is 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. And then you need a little piece for the bottom in the center, and this one is 1 1/8 by 2 1/4. So it doesn't take a whole lot of pieces. I might show you some of these other little characters that I got. I got these on Etsy. There's a designer on there. Her name is Lori Fresnel, and she just makes the cutest little characters. So I went in there, and this is what I used for my little characters on the card. They're about 2 inches tall, in case you needed to know that. All right, so this is what we're going to do. I made the whole card on my paper cutter because we have a lot of odd lines to make and only a couple that are score lines. So instead of using this groove for the paper cutter, I'm going to use it some of the time as a scoreboard. So the first thing you want to do is on the short side of this base red piece, you're going to score at 2 3/4. So just bring that up to the top, lay it up here at 2 3/4, and then go ahead and use this groove to just use your score line. Come all the way down. Okay, now we're going to turn this, and with the long side at the top, we're going to line up at 2 3/4. It's like that, 2 3/4. And we're, whoops, let me hold that in place there. We're going to fold this over, and this time we are going to use the blade. So I'm going to bring it up to the top because I want you to cut just down to that first score line that we had. And you can see it. Let's see if I can bring this up here. You can see it in there, and you just hold it in place and bring it down to that score line and stop. And then we have cut the first corner there. Then just move it over to your left, and it's going to go over to the 5 1/4 line. There's that 5 1/4. And then again, we're going to use the cutter, the blade, and just bring it down to that score line that you made, which is the center of your card, and just stop there. Okay. So what you have is your base, and these are the 2 corner places, and then this is going to be the center of your card. So now we're going to do a little bit of diagonal cutting. This is why I'm using this instead of the scoreboard, so I hope that you're able to follow along with this. I'm going to be putting this in here, and I'm going to score from this corner down to that middle line that you made, the middle score line. And I'm just going to line that up. I'm actually using that little wire that the paper cutter has. And I'm going from this corner, which is our middle, and then you have your score line here. So I'm going from that corner right up to the tip of that corner. I'm lining them up. Like that. And then I'm going to hold it in place, but I'm going to bring this up because I don't want to cut that. I want that to be a score line. So I'll just score right like that. So what I have is a score line to fold back, just like that. Now we're going to do the same thing to this other corner, except we're going to go from this tip to the middle. So I'm going to use my guide wire right here in the corner, and I'm going to line it up so it goes up to there. I'll do that with my guide line. I love these wires. It's my favorite paper cutter. And then I'm going to hold that in place. Whoops. Sorry, knocked it right out of place. I'm going to hold that in place, lift this up, and score up to the top. So what we have is the other corner of your card, and then just pull that down. Now I'm going to tuck these out of the way for a minute, and I want to put a score line down the center of here. So I'm going to bring the paper back down here. This edge I'm going to put over here at I'm sorry, this edge I'm going to put at 1 3/8, which is 1, and there's my 3/8. You can see that on here. There's 1 3/8. Now bring it down, and then I'm just going to use my score tool to just go across there. So I'm cutting this in half, and then I just fold that down like that. Okay? So now we're going to start cutting some of the parts. We're going to cut diagonally. These are the little pattern papers that go on top of the corners. And I'm just going from tip to tip. So I'm going to line it up and then just score it. Oops. You know, we're not going to score that. We're going to cut that. Okay, let's do that. We're going to cut that. I'm sorry. My mistake. So we're going corner to corner and hold that down, and we're just going to cut that. And these are the two little pieces that are going to fit in your corner. Oops. This way. See how that's starting to take shape? And then this other corner is going to go right here. Alrighty. And I think that's all of the cutting that we have to do. So I'll bring this in. I'm using the ATG to stick my pieces on. And I'm going to do the base first. Now there's actually 2 of these base cut in the white because I think it makes it sturdier. You don't want to have a flimsy base. So we're going to put one here. And we'll just line it up, center it in the middle. There we go. And then I'll add my pattern paper. Now if you wanted to use glue, you sure could. Everybody has their favorite medium they like to work with. But there's not a whole lot of layers here, so sometimes that glue gets a little lumpy, and I don't like that. And then I'm going to center this in the middle. Like that. And then I'm going to put the one that goes in the back, and this is going to be the sentiment. And I'll just center that as well. Oopsie, a little extra over there. Just tuck it under if that happens. Okay, so this is our front side. This is going to be our two end pieces, and then this is our center piece that goes in there. So I'm going to lay this flat. And add my two pieces in here. And I forgot to cut the underlining one. Remember, we cut this one out of the white. So I'm going to line that up and just cut it diagonally. And those are going to go here in the corners. I'll put that on here. And I'm just centering it, putting the pattern piece on top. And that just gets centered in there also. And the same on the other side. Seems like an awfully big tool to be using on this, but you do a lot of projects with score tape. It's really the most economical way to go. And then this goes on top of that. And then your center is the next one. Now we're only doing the first half because that's where we're going to be putting our sentiment, the big circular one, on there. So let me put the pattern piece on top of the white. Oops. There we go. And then that attaches to the bottom of that center square. Right like that. Okay. So now we're going to be putting our little penguins on there. And we're also going to put, if you see these hearts on the bottom, these are called stoppers because obviously they hold up your little caricatures. When you place these on here, you want to make sure that it's up straight. So I have already glued these two together because I knew I was going to use them on the card. And I'm going to attach these with pop-up dots. It doesn't take too many. I'm going to have him standing up on the one foot like that. So I'm going to put the pop-ups on the bottom. You don't need them at the top. So I'm going to put 2 pop-ups. And the reason for having these double-sided is you want the back side of your card to look nice too. So I'm going to put that like that, stand him up, and just press in the dots. And then I'm going to put, this is the one that's going over on the right, and he's just going to be sitting there like that. So again, I'm going to put the pop-ups on the bottom. He'll just sit right like there. And it's okay if they're on the outside. Kind of gives it a little more character. They don't have to be flush with the side of your card. The envelope that I had for this leaves a little bit of playroom anyway. Okay, so now we're going to put the center one in there. That's going to set like that. So I'm going to put some pop-ups just in the middle. You don't want to put your pop-ups near the edge because you don't really want to see them, but you want to have them there to do their job. So I always put them in at least 1/2 inch. And just a series of 3 is going to be plenty for this. Put him in here. Looks like snowballs and snowflakes hanging around, kinda. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the center. And then press them down. And again, these are going to go on just this first half. So you don't have to put pop-ups on the top of this. I'm just going to do it at the bottom so that it just sets right like that. So just a couple right here. Make sure you can see where your penguins are up and down. And I'll put that one here. And another one there. So that's going to come up just like that. And kind of center the 2 little lovebirds there in the middle. There we go. Okay. Now, a little tip that I want to pass on to you. These pop-ups that we're going to put on, these little heart-shaped ones, I use 2 pop-ups instead of 1 set because I wanted to make sure that they set up high enough so that they catch this border on the bottom. So when we place those, I'm going to do the middle one first. I'm going to be putting on the regular, and then I'm putting a second set on top just to give us some more height. I want the card to stand up nice. So bring this up where, you don't want to have it flat, you want it to be up, and these are the things that are going to stop that. So I'm going to put it kind of almost in the center, right like that, and then it catches your card when you pop it up. And then we're going to do the same with the others. Now if you notice, these hearts, they're not perfect spheres, so I like this one on the right and that one on the left. Just aesthetically looks better to me. So I'm going to put double pop-ups on there, like that. And these are Stampin' Up! Pop-ups, which are my favorite pop-ups. They're easy to access. They have them in black and white. And they also have two sizes. This is the larger size, and then they have a one that's half that size. So again, when we put him on here, you don't want him to be laying down. You want him to be standing up. So I'm going to put him up there, and then I'm going to line these up so that they catch the front foot there. And then he stands up. When I made my first card, I only put just the two pop-ups on, and I kind of skipped around. Sometimes it would catch the edge and sometimes it wouldn't. So I doubled up just to make sure it catches them every time. Look how quick and easy this is. These are so much fun. And then this other penguin, we're going to make sure he's sitting up nice and straight. And then I'll slide this in so that it catches the bottom of the penguin. There we go. Oops, there we don't go. I'll move him over just a little bit. Okay. Now we got him. Just have to catch that edge. Oh, isn't that cute? Very nice. Okay. Now, the only other thing you have to do is decide what you want to put on the back for your sentiment. And I'm going to take one of these other penguins. For this, since it's on the back, you need to use glue rather than the pop-ups because they'll just get knocked off. They're on a table or a stand or anything. So we'll put that on here. And I'm going to add a little heart back here. You can do whichever you like, you know, you can even leave it blank if you want, because it's your card. Alright, so I'm just going to put this under there. There we go. Now I want to show you this envelope. I also cut out some tiny penguins that match the center under Be My Valentine, and I put that on the envelope. And this envelope measures 4 by 9.5. So if you're going to be mailing these, you just fold it down. Oh, they want to stick up. Put it in your envelope, and see, you have plenty of area. One other thing I would caution you about is to be sure and put down here non-machinable, because you don't want the post office to run this through their automatic machines because it crushes them. And of course it'll take a little extra postage, but when you spend this much time on a card, you want to make sure that it gets there. And there you have it. That is your Be My Valentine triple easel card. Okay, thanks for watching.